Hey guys, so the sun's going down, but I wanted to make a video for you guys anyway, so the lighting's probably not going to be the best, I'm forewarning you. But I put it on macro, so it should be fairly clear. We'll see. Sometimes iMovie kind of reduces the quality. But today we're going to talk about armpits. So this is actually really kind of uncomfortable for me and weird, but it's actually really funny. I probably get 2 or 3 questions every day about armpits, and a lot of people are very concerned about their armpit discoloration. And I'm pretty lucky, I've never had too many issues with my armpit color. I've always been pretty okay with how they looked, except I'll share a little story afterwards. But anyways, so I'm going to talk about the first 5 main issues that may be causing armpit darkness. There's a lot of different reasons. So the first one's probably going to be shaving for most people, especially if your skin's kind of like see-through or your hair is very, very thick, and you can actually see it. When you guys cut it off, you guys can still see, the root of your hair. And if you have a lot of armpit hair, under there, then you might want to try waxing instead. You might want to try using an epilator. Sometimes I use an epilator. This is what it looks like. It's probably one of the most disgusting torture devices known to man. It makes you think the crazy things women do, just for beauty. Basically what it does is it rips out your hair so that way you don't have to go to a salon if you're like me. You don't want to go to a salon and get a wax. So to make it easier, what I'll do is I will get out of the shower, dry off. I try to do it after the shower since your pores will be a little bit more open so it won't hurt as badly and it'll come out a bit easier. So dry off your pits, whatever it is you're gonna do, and then get some baby powder if you want. I usually like to use a little bit of baby powder with a little makeup brush and then just brush it underneath really quickly. What it does is it helps wick away any moisture so that the little blades that you guys can see are going to pick up the hairs a little bit better. And then you just keep running it up and down and it pulls out the hair by the root. So it's really cool. It's fairly quick, not painless. It actually hurts quite a bit, but they're pretty inexpensive, $20, $30 each. I got mine from Bed Bath & Beyond. I know you can buy them online pretty much anywhere. Bed Bath & Beyond for some reason has a huge selection of them. This is a really nice alternative if you're someone like me who doesn't like waxing, or if you want, you could be crazy and take a tweezer and pluck them all out too, but that'll probably take a really long time. So this is a really good alternative for that if shaving is causing your problems. So the next one is just irritation from our products you're using. Deodorants as well as hair removal creams can really irritate your skin. So my suggestion would be to try to, if it's from the hair removal cream, try waxing or try using an epilator. And if it's from your deodorant, some more harsh deodorants do this, and some people just like their skin has a bad reaction with the antiperspirant. And so if that's your problem, then I would try one of those kind of more holistic and natural alternatives to deodorant. I know they have some, health food stores, a lot of them have like these little crystals that you can use for your underarms if you'd like to try that instead. The next main cause of underarm darkness is actually from a buildup of skin cells. If you look at your armpit, you guys can see that there's kind of these folds in your skin there, and dead skin can get caught in there really easily. So one of the best things I would recommend for you is getting a loofah. So I love loofahs. I love to use this for my body. It keeps your skin smooth, keeps your skin looking great. Be sure to rub underneath there, and I just rub all over my whole body. Keeps your skin looking very fresh and youthful. Also helps get into any nooks and crannies you may have. Also, I moisturize my armpits. I just use my Cetaphil moisturizing cream. I use it all over my body. It's great. It works wonderfully. And also another suggestion I would have is to not put on your deodorant right away. I try to shave the night before I go out and then moisturize my armpits so my skin kind of has a whole 12 hours or so to rest, and so it's not quite open yet, because even though you can't see it when you're shaving you actually cut your skin a little bit. There's actually a little bit of blood on your razor, which is why they say you should never share a razor, because there's always going to be a small amount of blood on there. And so I just like to give my skin a little bit of time to recuperate, and then I'll put on deodorant in the morning. I've always noticed if I shaved and then I put on deodorant right away, especially if I dry shaved, which all of you guys have done at one point in your life. I don't care what you say. Of course you have, when you're short on time, but try not to do that. I've noticed that it makes my skin just freak out. It starts peeling and it gets super red. It looks like it's diseased, and it's really gross, especially because I use a very harsh deodorant personally. So I noticed that if I put on my deodorant right after I shave, I almost always will have some kind of skin irritation. So like I said, I just wait and try really hard to moisturize your skin afterwards and let it rest at least a few hours before you put deodorant on. Deodorants actually have a lot of really harsh drugs and chemicals in them. A lot of people think that they're very unsafe to use, so if you're going to use it, just make sure that your skin is completely healed and smooth and unbroken. So another cause of underarm darkness can also be hyperpigmentation. This is something that happens with a lot of Asian American women, African American women. Like I said, we tend to share a lot of the same skin issues, and hyperpigmentation just basically means you have a lot of melanin there, a lot of skin discoloration. Melanin also causes age spots, acne, scars. So there are whitening creams which are kind of on the fence as far as safety goes. So there are natural alternatives. You can always try mixing a little bit of raw papaya and lemon juice, both of which are natural skin lighteners. But obviously the lemon juice is a little bit too acidic to be using straight on your skin, but then the raw papaya will help balance it out a bit. But raw papaya is also used in a lot of cultures. I know Filipino people particularly like to use like papaya soaps, which are naturally whitening soap, and it'll help kind of fight a little bit of the underarm discoloration. And then the last one that actually might be afflicting a lot of you that you guys aren't aware of is the skin disorder called acanthosis nigricans. So acanthosis nigricans is kind of the medical term for it, but basically what happens is your skin kind of turns into this little velvety-like texture. Gets very dry, it seems to thicken a little bit, and it causes extra folds, and it also causes a lot of darkness in that area. Tends to happen where the skin folds are, so armpits, necks. Sometimes people can experience it in their knee area, but basically in the neck and in the armpit area. This happens to people who have diabetes. Sometimes it could be an insulin problem. It can also be something that comes on from obesity. Obese women tend to have this problem with their neck. Sometimes even in the folds of their skin if they're quite overweight. Also can be caused by medication, so niacin, oral contraceptives. A few syndromes also cause this disorder. So what can you do about it? First off, if it's something that's coming from a medication like oral contraceptives, or if it's coming from niacin, no matter what treatment you do, if you don't address the root of the problem, it's not going to help. So, maybe if it's insulin, it could be diabetes, possibly. It could be a lot of these reasons. So you just have to think if it's obesity, perhaps losing weight would also help. If you kind of just address the effects, the physical effects, you're not really addressing the root of the problem, so it's always going to come back. Also, if it's something that really, really bothers you, there are some alternatives for it. Like I said, to lighten the skin, you could do the papaya and the lemon juice mixture after the shower. Just put it on your armpits, mix it into a paste, and then put it in your underarm, let it sit for a few minutes, and then wash it off with water. But for as far as the thickness of the skin, that may not help the thickness of the skin. There are laser treatments for that, but laser treatments are very, very expensive, but it'll help thin out the skin. Pretty much every laser treatment I've ever seen costs around like the $1,000 range. That's obviously not an option for everyone, but that's just something to think about. But like I said, if you do think it's acanthosis nigricans, then you really need to address the health problem that may be underlying that issue. That you could just be seeing the underarm darkness and that may be bothering you, but there may be something much more serious going on that you are not aware of. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed that video and have fun with your armpits. This is so weird. So I actually never knew that women were self-conscious about their armpits until YouTube. Everyone has their weird thing, right? I mean, I'm sure I have my weird thing too. I know what my weird thing is. My weird thing is I hate when my eyelids are uneven. They get uneven sometimes and it just makes me look like this. It's really awkward. So that's it. I hope that was helpful to some of you guys, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!